All right, let's talk about one of Python's absolute best tools, the dictionary. We're going to demystify this thing, starting with a really common problem, and then see how dictionaries just solve it.
So, picture this, right? You've got this gigantic, messy pile of data. I'm talking thousands of contacts, maybe user profiles, whatever. And your job is to find one single thing in all that mess. How on earth are you supposed to do that without spending all day on it?
Well, if you're using something like a list, you're kind of stuck. You have to do what's called a linear search. You check the first thing, nope. The second thing, nope. The third, you get the idea. It's so slow and clunky. But what if you could just skip all that and go straight to the answer? That's what we call a direct lookup.
And that, my friends, is where the Python dictionary comes in. It is the elegant solution. It's a data structure that was literally built to take that slow, painful search and make it completely instant.
Okay, so what is a dictionary, really? Well, technically, it's what's called a mapping type. Instead of storing things in a line, it stores them as key-value pairs. And the reason it's so incredibly fast? Under the hood, it uses this really clever system to figure out exactly where your data is based on its key. No searching involved. It just knows.
You know, the best way to get your head around this is with a super simple analogy. A dictionary is basically just a digital phone book.
Think about it. When you use a phone book, you don't start at A and read every single name until you find who you're looking for, right? No way. You look up the name, that's your key, and it points you directly to the phone number. That's the value. Dictionaries do that exact same thing, just for any kind of data you can imagine.
Okay, there are just a few rules you gotta know. First, the keys have to be what we call immutable. All that means is they can't change, so things like strings or numbers are perfect. You can't use something like a list as a key, because lists can change. Second, the values? They can be anything. A number, a string, a list, even another dictionary. Go crazy! And a really cool thing since Python 3.6 is that dictionaries actually remember the order you put things in. Super handy.
All right, enough theory. Let's get practical. How do you actually use one of these things? Let's dive into the basic toolkit.
Honestly, it's super simple. To create one, you just use a pair of curly braces. That's it, an empty dictionary. To add something or update it, you just use square brackets with your key inside and set it equal to your value. And to get that value back, you just use the key again. Boom! Create, add, access. You're good to go. Okay, now that you've got the basics down, I want to share a couple of pro tips. And trust me, these are absolutely crucial. Getting these right will save you from some really common bugs and a ton of frustration later on.
So, let's go back to that phone book idea for a sec. What happens if you look for a name that just isn't in there? Well, in Python, if you try to grab a value using a key that doesn't exist, your whole program will just stop. It'll crash with what's called a key error. So how do you avoid that? Easy. You do a little safety check first. The in keyword is your best friend for this. You can literally just ask Python, hey, is this key in my dictionary? Before you try to access it. It's a simple if statement that completely prevents those crashes. My second pro tip is about making copies, and this one trips a lot of people up. There are two kinds, shallow and deep. A shallow copy is kind of like copying just the cover of a binder. You have two covers, but they both hold the exact same pages. So if you change a page in one, it changes in the other too. A deep copy, though, is like photocopying the cover and every single page inside. You get a totally separate, independent copy. This difference is so important when you have lists or other dictionaries inside your dictionary.
Okay, theory's great, but let's see this thing in action. We're going to take all this and use it to solve a classic, practical problem.
So here's the challenge. We need to count the frequency of every single letter in a sentence. This is a perfect job for a dictionary, where we can use it to keep a running tally.
And the way we do it is actually pretty elegant. First, you just create an empty dictionary. Then, you loop through the sentence one letter at a time. For every letter you see, you check, is this letter already a key in my dictionary? If it is, great. You just add one to its count. And if it's not, well, then you add it as a new key and set its value to 1. That's it.
And check this out. At the end, you're left with this perfectly organized table of results. The letter is the key and the count is the value. We've taken a totally unstructured sentence and turned it into useful, structured data. Pretty cool, right?
So there you have it. You've seen what a dictionary is, why it's so useful, and how to work with it. You've basically just added a new power tool to your coding toolbox, and now you can go solve some really interesting stuff.
Seriously, dictionaries are the secret weapon for so many programming challenges.
Anytime you need to track unique things, like counting words or keeping track of which cities you visited, dictionaries are your go-to. Or maybe build in a simple translator. That's just a dictionary mapping one word to another. It makes these problems so much easier to solve.
And that's really the main thing to remember. A dictionary isn't just some data structure. It's a whole new way of thinking. It's your instant lookup table, your super efficient counter, your way of connecting pieces of data together. You have this incredibly versatile tool now. So the real question is, what amazing problem are you going to solve with it?